Million-word warranty, rest assured to collect. After the era of steam, the world underwent great changes, and the era of true chi followed one after another. Ordinary people with low qualifications are unwilling to give up, pushing the electrical age forward step by step. However, the diversification and convenience of energy have not left the era of true energy far behind. Even more so, its level of importance still far exceeds that of electrical engineering. The power and terror of true chi have a profound impact on everything of humanity, and it fascinates humanity immensely. Mengde. I was able to achieve what I have today thanks to my own efforts and talent. Deep. Where am I hanging up? Where are my cheats? Why didn't I fail to revive my life? There is no female protagonist, there are women, power is paramount, and there are no romantic scenes. If you are tired of watching love and affection, come here and keep it safe for you to see. Blood. Flow. Cheng. River. Keywords of the novel. Wudao. The era of true chi with no pop-ups, Wudao. The era of true chi. Download the complete set of TXT, Wudao. The latest chapter of the era of true chi. Chapter 1. Entry. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 1 Entry, Mengde, it's up to you. Don't let down your family's expectations of you. 8th Uncle Meng Ren was dressed in casual clothes, and his temperament remained clearly sharp and capable. He patted Mengde's shoulder and said earnestly, "You must pass the martial arts exam. This is not only about your future, but also about whether your family can prosper again." Mengde nodded slowly and looked straight at the 8th uncle, who was 10 years older than him, calmly. "Uncle Ba, rest assured that my family has invested so much in me and has made a preliminary assessment of my qualifications. There will definitely be no problems. The fire of internal breathing can surely be successfully ignited." Upon hearing these words, Meng Ren unconsciously showed a faint smile and was about to give a few more instructions when the broadcast from Yutsai Middle School had already sounded. Middle school seniors entrance exam candidates are entering the venue. Unrelated personnel, please make way. The entrance passage opened, and the patrol officers maintained order. Several teachers began to shout. Humanities students come here, look at my head. Look at the cards and enter. Those who want to take the martial arts exam come here. The intention form has been filled out long ago, and at this time, the students who were squeezed together consciously split up, with 2 long queues rushing into the channel. Go back, Uncle Ba, I can handle it here. Also, thank you very much for taking the time off to give me a ride, come on. Meng Ren gave a final encouragement and watched as Mengde hurriedly got on the car and left after entering the passage. With the crowded crowd, Mengde stepped into the underground parking lot of Yutsai Middle School. The lights are bright, and 2 special line subways are waiting quietly. A large number of martial arts candidates boarded the train in an orderly manner with guidance and admission tickets in hand. This is not outside the school, so even if there is a surge of people, it is mostly quiet. Occasional discussions can lead to immediate reprimands. At this point, the soldiers armed to the teeth shook Mengde a bit. The situation in this life is very different from before. The entrance exam for the 4th year of middle school is equivalent to the 1st year of high school in a previous life. Unexpectedly, there could be an army with live guns and ammunition guarding, which fully demonstrates the importance of the martial arts examination. Without him, true energy is force, and true energy is the future. Being able to ignite the spark of internal breathing, even if one has low qualifications, can only complete the training until the end of Form 6. If one cannot enter university, they are all important talents for the future of the empire. Born, one can be superior to ordinary people. 6 years of primary school, 6 years of secondary school, and 6 years of university, with 3 major barriers and 1 minor hurdle. If there is still interest and qualification to continue after 6th year, the 2 heavenly gates are waiting there. Nowadays, the entrance exam for the fourth year of middle school is the first hurdle in life. In just 10 minutes, all candidates took their seats and the special subway line started, taking military candidates to an unknown examination room. About an hour later, the subway stopped and the teachers in each carriage guided the candidates to get off. If there is no detour, at this speed, at this time, it will probably be like leaving Weizu City and approaching Feijiang City. Mengda silently followed behind the teacher, calculating the distance in his heart. TSK, this testing point is really secretive. Quietly scrutinizing the crowd around him, most of them had a green face and were around 16 years old like him. The key is that everyone is powerful and physically strong, even women are tall and energetic. It's really scary that so many people from Yutsai Middle School are diverted to the humanities examination room, and there are actually over 1,000 people taking the martial arts exam. This is just one grade person, not all the students in Yutsai Middle School. Here we go. With the teacher's reminder, the long silent candidates lit up their eyes and began to stir. In front of me is a vast underground karst cave, with faint sounds of underground river water flowing. Dozens of lights on top of the head can fully simulate sunlight, and a dozen large speakers can also allow people to experience what three-dimensional surround sound is. What a profound, gecko wall climbing skill. A candidate exclaimed in surprise, seeing many people clinging to the slippery walls of the cave under the light, and even vaguely seeing someone standing on the top of the cave, upside down, looking at the candidate. At this point, teachers no longer prohibit the words and actions of students. Tisk, amazing. This is at least the existence of the fourth step of body refining, the fascia realm. In ancient times, it was not a problem to treat one as 1,000. What a terrifying teaching staff. I am more concerned about whether I can pass the next exam. Envy is useless. The third type knows what to take, and those who can pass will naturally pass. Yes, the key is whether the final step can ignite the internal breathing spark. Cough. The candidate had just opened the discussion, but within a few minutes, the voice of the principal came through the broadcast. After a lengthy argument, we finally got to the main point. Strength, speed, physical fitness, all three basic tests are not a big problem. Believe in the holiday before the entrance exam, all students have not let themselves down, not let down the school, not let down their parents. Now, it's time to showcase your years of hard work. Candidates, come on in. After the principal finished speaking, the examiner took over. For those who have ignited the internal flame, go through the designated channel. Everyone else, please conduct a strength test first. There are differences between people, even ordinary people can be classified into 3, 6, or 9 levels, let alone this world with extraordinary military power. Those with strong financial resources and family influence will naturally give their ethnic group a higher starting point and receive better education. They have received elite education from a young age, specialized guidance, expensive medicinal herbs, internal and external applications, specialized nutrients, and precise and rapid supplementation of the body's needs. And this advantage is fully demonstrated from this moment on. As for Mengda, it is obvious that he is not the kind of Tianjiao who can ignite the internal flame on his own. The Meng family is a very ordinary small family, not even a family. Grandpa, the older generation, were all farmers who cultivated the land. If Mengda doesn't cross over, his grandfather will be considered the true male lead. As a commoner, with a mid to high posture, he ignited an internal flame on his own, breaking class restrictions and accumulating further foundation for his children and grandchildren. If it weren't for this grandfather, I'm afraid Mengda would have to travel through the humanities first. It's not that pursuing humanities will always lead to being at the bottom of society, it's just that not specializing in martial arts will inevitably involve energy and slow progress. However, in this era, not only talent is important, resources cannot be ignored. Therefore, not only in the new country, but also in other countries, there are many examples of people from civilian backgrounds who rely on humanities to achieve success and rely on resources to pile up. What is a resource? This does not only refer to expensive drugs, but also represents strong teaching conditions, some hidden and easier to break through mysteries, some specialized research, and even tailor-made techniques for them. It's just that people cannot make a biased conclusion based on survivors. There are many who can go against the sky with humanities, but we also need to recognize reality. The entire East Asian Union has a population base of billions here, and calculating the probability, do you really think you are that arrogant person? You are truly the proud son of heaven. Why not pursue martial arts? Isn't the path taken in the field of martial arts faster and more convenient than in the field of humanities? The new book opens a pit, and I will start coding from now on, never stopping to change. I will not watch dramas or get sick. I will not play games or water groups. I will explode the liver code. Life and death are like this. I am the keyboard in the darkness, the guard on the Great Wall, resisting the cold flames, and the light at dawn. I dedicate my life and glory to the cause of online literature. Tonight is like this, night after night. End of this chapter. Chapter 2. Small Secret Realm. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 2 Small Secret Realm. Taking a deep breath, Mengda couldn't help feeling a little nervous even though he had lived 2 generations, and tried to relax himself as much as possible. In just 2 minutes, more than 100 people were diverted out again. These are mostly the existence of igniting internal combustion seeds in advance with the help of their own families. Some are geniuses who ignite their own internal flame without relying on external objects. Perhaps from the perspective of the entire new country and the East Asian Union, they are nothing and very ordinary. At least here, there is still a need for most people to look up and climb high. As for those who are not so talented and do not have strong family resources to support them, they can only blend in with Mengda and his group to once again strive for the opportunity given by the school. Strength, speed, and physical fitness are the 3 basic tests. In fact, this test is not very meaningful, it is simply used to brush away people who cannot even meet the minimum requirements. Those who can walk here mostly have a bit of AB number in their hearts, and they have a lot of confidence. Following in the footsteps of the teacher, Mengda arrived at the corner of the cave. The testing has started. It's very complicated. After all, the testing needs to be as precise as possible and the process standardized. For example, in strength testing, it's not just about lifting weights, but also about testing your explosive power, continuous output ability, and so on. Partial science. At this stage, it's not possible. Ignite the internal flame. Ordinary people cannot tolerate deviating from the subject. If one item does not meet the standard, it means losing the qualification of the school to specifically ignite the internal flame for you. After ignition, you will be allowed to freely choose the path. Of course, those resource-rich Tianjiao are not included in this list. After all, their weaknesses may be stronger than the strengths of ordinary people. Mengda's attention was not here, and many people were curious as they scrutinized the tests of their previous classmates, most of whom were eager to try. And a few people, like Mengda, were full of confidence and instead looked towards the distant Tianjiao who had already ignited the internal flame. The guide teacher over there is smiling and sitting on the chair, with a black and blue round stone placed on the table in front of him. The Tianjiao people stepped forward one by one, using the power of the internal breathing flame to touch the round stone, immediately raising their reaction and shining brightly. With each passing, the guiding teacher's smile became even greater, and the corners of his mouth were astonishingly wide. Why does this scene look more and more like testing the cultivation spirit root? Mengda couldn't help but mutter to himself. This guide teacher's smile is also a bit eerie. Testing the ignited internal flame feels like a passing game. They quickly finished the test and sat in the rest area, either with their eyes closed and focused, or with indifferent or haughty eyes staring at ordinary people like Mengda who still needed to go through the process. They occasionally lowered their voices to communicate, discussing who would become one of them. Some of Mengda's people are also favored by them, and what they lack is just an opportunity. And Yutsai Middle School will soon present this opportunity to them, allowing them to successfully stand out from ordinary people. The basic 3 tests quickly turned to Mengda's group, and they also completed the tests quickly. With Mengda's ability, it is obvious that he is more than enough to pass the 3 levels. However, in the ranking of results, there are still hundreds of people who are much stronger than Mengda. Mengda's presence in the surrounding area of Waitsu City is ultimately just a mid to high position. Few are unqualified, and their faces may turn red or white in the pitiful gaze of others. These people either come from poor families and cannot keep up with their physical nutrition, or they relax too much before the exam, resulting in failing certain indicators and being rejected. There is also a top-notch, indifferent sneer. Humph, just brush it down and then brush it down. What's the use of lighting internal breathing sparks? In a few years, won't there be many people working for my house? Some people agree with it, but they don't show any signs. Some have ugly faces and are provoked, while others have strange faces and hold back their smiles. Some even disdain it, scanning this masterpiece like sweeping a pile of feces. Mengda was shocked, and indeed, no matter in which world, fools are always there. Reality is very magical, there's really no need to talk about logic, it's only necessary in novels. But that's all, except for a slight shock, Mengda doesn't plan on making any extra moves. This kind of person dares to say such things, either because they are really brainless, or because there is indeed a strong influence behind them. But no matter what, it is not worth Mengda's resentment. After all, there are already many people who deeply remember this exquisite appearance in their minds. Youth spirit, hee in the slightly damp and cold underground cave, there was already a heatwave, which was caused by the testing of young girls. Okay, very good. Not long after, the examiner finished reviewing the materials handed over by his subordinates, and the sound from the speaker appeared very happy. I didn't expect the minimum pass rate for this class of students to be so high. Remember from the previous class, the pass rate was only 80% of yours. This is great, come on, open the little secret realm and send them in. Buzz. A circle of air waves instantly exploded in the center of the cave, sweeping through everyone's bodies. A white light suddenly appeared, and an illusory bronze ghost head portal appeared out of thin air, slowly solidifying. At the eyes of the ghost head, there was still a blue flame burning. Open. A dozen or so teachers who were originally hanging upside down on the ceiling floated down, together performing complex door-opening techniques to guide their true energy to open the door. This is the little secret realm. It's so wonderful. Mengda's heart moved and his dull eyes lit up. No wonder Waitsu City No. 1 High School actually holds a small secret realm. I have learned relevant knowledge from my predecessor's memory, but entering here can improve the ignition rate. Not only that, the 4 major steps of refining one's body can all lead to faster cultivation speed within this small secret realm. Dear students, within the territory of Xiaomi, there are the medicinal baths, equipment, and sparks you need to ignite the fire. Even the teacher personally guides you with medicine, and you have all been honed. As long as there are no accidents, you can easily take the next step in no more than 3 days. And your first semester will all be spent in this little secret territory. If the ignition is not successful within 3 days, although it is regrettable, there is no need to worry too much. This just means that your internal training talent is not enough. After coming out, you can still take the external training path, from outside to inside, and forcibly ignite the internal breathing flame. Those who take this path have even stronger military strength and internal breathing quality than those who practice martial arts internally. As long as the external training is successful, you can still participate in the martial arts test again next semester and enter the small secret realm. The examiner inherited the fine tradition of the principal and chattered incessantly, but not many people paid attention to it. Practicing martial arts outside. Truly believing is too naive. The examiner is right. In terms of strength and internal breathing quality, external martial arts training is indeed a bit stronger than internal training. Those who can forcibly ignite the internal flame from the outside to the inside are all ruthless people. But among them, there is an important issue that cannot be ignored. That's efficiency and resources. If you fail within 3 days and are taken out of the small secret realm, you will have to waste 2 semesters of this year practicing martial arts outside. Not only do we need to work harder to cultivate external skills, but we also need to earn resources by working on our own. This falls into a dead cycle. How could an ordinary student earn so much money without even igniting the internal spark? To break this dead cycle, we can only rely on external forces. Or take out a loan, or seek help from the family. Not to mention this beginning, even if it is successful, the 4 major steps of body refining in the future will require more resources and slower efficiency. More importantly, the advantage gained through such hard work is only limited to the 4 major steps of refining one's body. In the realm of true Qi, the small advantage of practicing martial arts outside will be erased, and both sides will once again reach a new starting point of balance. End of this chapter. Chapter 3. Chaos. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 3 Chaos. So the question is it worth it? Of course not worth it. In this era, no matter how strong the lower martial arts are, can they be as strong as firearms? The wisdom of ordinary people can never be underestimated. Only by entering the realm of true Qi can a qualitative change be formed. In ancient times, practicing martial arts outside was not a disadvantage. But now, gaga gaga. The bronze ghost head emitted a duck-like ghostly cry, and the blue flame flickered before extinguishing. At the same time, the door opened with a thud. A hazy and chaotic gray curtain enveloped the entrance. The examiner saw this and stopped the seemingly never-ending conversation. Alright, students who have preliminarily obtained qualifications, let's enter the little secret realm. The gate will last for 5 days, and when you enter, there are still many materials that need to be exchanged. Don't delay, everyone, boom. Before he could finish speaking, there was a loud bang. In an instant, a earth-shaking, mountain-shaking vibration came, causing the students inside the cave to immediately tilt and almost fall. Fortunately, most of them have a solid foundation and quickly adjusted their focus. Only a few eliminated individuals with extremely poor foundations fell to the ground in an instant, feeling dizzy. Die. Before everyone could react, someone erupted and drew a sword from somewhere, slashing it horizontally. Shit. Suddenly, a knife of over 10 meters in length burst into the air, cutting through cloth and tearing flesh and blood. Ah! The screams were incessant, and the more than 100 people leisurely in the rest area were just rookies who had just ignited the internal breathing flame. No matter how talented, they have not yet turned their talents into strength. Even if someone hastily resists, or even takes out the protective treasure given by the family, it is in vain. That thin layer of true Qi protective film, in front of a true Qi powerhouse, is like paper paste. Those who were cut to the waist would be unable to die for a while, lying on the ground and howling. It hurts so much, my intestines, Mom. Teacher, help me. Don't kill me, my family has a lot of money and treasures. Mengda's pupils contracted and he turned to look around. The one who cut this knife was actually the guiding teacher sitting behind the black-blue round stone just now. The true Qi is released, and this is actually a strong person who has crossed the 4 major steps of refining and entered the gate of true Qi. How could such a big shot come from such a small walled city? No wonder I just felt that this guy's smile was eerie. It seems that my subconscious is warning me, and my intuition reminds me that there is danger. The human body is truly amazing. Just as I thought of this, an electric shock-like sensation rose from the coccyx, straight into my head. Mendleton's scalp exploded, and my hair stood up. Unexpectedly, several soldiers armed to the teeth who escorted them here aimed their guns at students like Mengda who had not yet ignited the internal flame. They not only want to kill geniuses, but they are not even prepared to let go of these talented individuals. What's going on here? What happened? Mengda's heart pounded wildly, adrenaline began to secrete in large quantities, and his body instinctively pounced forward. The continuous gunfire was accompanied by screams of agony. A group of unarmed and ordinary students, slaughtering them is as simple as stepping on ants. Done. The examiner is a middle-aged and strong man, with a tiger's back and a bear's waist, and light blue circles around his eyes. At this moment, when he saw the tragedy happening on the monitor, his head went blank. In an instant, he suddenly became furious. "You guys are so brave." He let out a loud roar, stepped on it, and the floor shattered, falling into a cave. Hee, it's late. It's late. The wielder of the sword entered the flock like a tiger, effortlessly killing over 100 Tianjiao seeds. On Mengda's side, the teacher at the bronze gate was also furious and charged towards the assassins who had infiltrated the soldiers. The other soldiers pulled the trigger, and a dense barrage of bullets poured down on this group of impostors. "Lie down. Everyone lie down." The teacher, who had adhered to the molten wall with the skill of gecko swimming on the wall, rushed over and reminded the students whose minds were still spinning. The assassin who pretended to be a soldier quickly fell into a pool of blood. Even if he had a bulletproof vest, he was still a warrior, but he could not stop the power of the bullet. Many students were hit by stray bullets and fell to the ground without even making any screams. Mengda felt a chill in his heart, but he had to admit the correctness and decisiveness of this action. Jia jia jia. A cold and eerie laughter rang out, and several large holes were once again broken through the underground and top of the cave. Dozens of unknown personnel dressed in black armor and fully armed emerged from it. "Xia Jingchun, your hidden little secret realm is really easy to find. The protagonist always appears last, and this black-robed man is no exception." His head, shrouded in a layer of black mist, turned as if looking around. "After 14 years, I finally found it." There was a moment of silence and no one responded. Only his subordinates and teachers from Yutsai Middle School, as well as the sound of soldiers fighting. And howls of sorrow. Xia Jingchun, where are you?" The black-robed man was puzzled and immediately smiled. "Huh, it's okay, Xia Jingchun. After all, you're slacking off. If that's the case, then I'm not polite." Mengda's heart was icy cold, but his body felt the heat waves rolling. This was the effect of many warriors fighting with their muscles and bones ringing together, and their chi and blood surging. He lay on the ground pretending to be dead, very close to some of the combatants. Mengda is very nervous, he doesn't want to die again. After all, being able to live again is already a stroke of luck, how can we know if there will be another one? Who knows? Although pretending to be dead, Mengda's mind was not idle as he estimated the gap between the unknown enemy and his own side. Unfortunately, the enemy was already prepared, and our side was caught off guard. Even if we fight at home, we cannot make up for the gap in strength. Moreover, the enemy has a big shot in the true Qi realm, and the black-robed man who has not yet taken action is designated as a strong person above the true Qi realm. Oh, I made a move. Sure enough, you guessed it right, another true Qi realm. Mengda's mind turned rapidly, feeling that it was useless to pretend to be dead in this way. He was afraid he would really die here. Enter the small secret realm and shout for the people inside to come out and help. The examiner was awakened from anger by two powerful enemies working together, and when he saw that the situation was not good, he didn't hesitate to shake people. At the same time, he also opened the communicator and roared. "Principal, where are you going in such a hurry? Something serious has happened." The examiner was extremely angry, spitting out a fragrant aroma and greeting the principal and elders with a strong and fragrant voice. "I understand, the principal's name is mostly Xia Jingchun." Mengda's thinking couldn't help but diverge, but now is not the time to think about it. The examiner has already pointed out the way out. Stop them, no one here today wants to leave alive. The black-robed man deliberately lowered his voice and accelerated the attack. Quickly, quickly. Kill him and seize the key to the small secret realm. Jianyu, why don't we take action together? Another true Qi realm revealed its strength and suddenly erupted, killing a martial arts teacher in front of it, and then plundering towards the chief examiner. Someone even shot and shattered the communicator in the examiner's hand, wiping it off his scalp. Cold sweat mixed with blood instantly slid down his face. Even in the realm of true Qi, firearms still pose a great threat to them, especially in long-range sniping. Fortunately, the distance was not far enough to be sensed, and the examiner managed to barely escape with inspiration. End of this chapter. Chapter 4. Escape from Death. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 4 Escape from Death. Chow, a plant. Seeing these people approaching the door while fighting, Mengda could no longer resist. The body changed its posture, lying low on the ground, and with a fierce kick of its legs, like sharp arrows, it swooshed past numerous fleeing classmates and rushed towards the gray screen. In terms of his ability to escape, Mengda considers himself to be among the top students in this group. However, to his surprise, there were still people who were faster than him. No, it should be said that someone is closer to the door than him. Blinking his eyes, the person disappeared into the gray screen and looked at his figure, which was a woman. Next, there's the second, third. What are you doing? Stop them. The black-robed man was furious, and immediately someone turned the spear and even took the firearms, shooting at the ash curtain. Dealing with successful martial arts may not have much effect as firearms are too close together. But for those vegetable chickens like Mengda who haven't even ignited their internal flame, it's naturally a massacre. Mengda only felt a tremble in his body, and after passing through the gray screen, he lost consciousness. It's broken. I've only been in this world for 2 months, shouldn't I be so unlucky? In a daze, Mengda occasionally felt someone walking around him. Who is it? Where am I? He wanted to open his eyes, but it was like a ghost pressing on a bed, unable to move at all, losing control of his body, and not even breathing smoothly enough. Not long after, he lost consciousness again in a daze. When Mengda opened his eyes again, the unfamiliar ceiling came into view. The revival of his thinking immediately made him understand his own situation. It seems to have been saved, it's so close. He sat up with his body propped up, and the hospital bed creaked, which immediately alarmed the nurse. The patient in bed 36 has awakened. Dr. Yang, come and check your condition. Mengda remained silent, and the pain in his buttocks and chest reminded him that he was still an injured person. Soon, Dr. Yang came in with his men to carefully examine Mengda. Not bad, the wound has healed well and will be discharged tomorrow. Mengda forced a smile and asked. Doctor, how long have I been sleeping? Dr. Yang is a tall and chubby man in his 40s, with a face full of flesh and blood, resembling a bandit and more like a doctor. Obviously, he is also a successful practitioner of martial arts. Upon hearing this, he understood Mengda's concerns and spoke in a low tone. Don't worry, young man. Although you have been sleeping for 3 days, it will not affect your ability to continue lighting the fire. The new principal has specially ordered that for this martial arts exam, all the remaining 55 people will be included as an exception, and investment will be increased. Besides, your talent is not bad, and your grades are above average. You can rest assured, the new principal. Mengda was taken aback for a moment and then understood. It seems that the principal has stepped down before. Xia Jingchun must be unable to withstand such a big incident. In the second half of my life, I estimate that I will enter and exit the most dangerous new secret realm and work hard in the cracks. I don't expect to die in a corner one day. Dr. Yang doesn't care at all, these right struggles have nothing to do with him as a doctor. But when it comes to it, you young man, you're really lucky. You've been shot 3 times and you managed to survive our rescue. The nurse interface said. This is not luck, after all, I am taking the martial arts exam. I have a strong physique and strong vitality. 3 shots. Mengde raised his eyebrows, expressing surprise. How do I feel like I've only been shot twice? So, it's luck. Dr. Yang couldn't help but smile at this moment, his face full of flesh making his smile appear somewhat ferocious. 1 shot into your buttocks, 1 shot through your chest, and a little further off, it's your heart. There was another shot that brushed against your neck and took away a small piece of flesh and blood. The amount of bleeding for an ordinary person is long gone. Fortunately, you are in a small secret realm, and with us professional doctors who have strong internal breathing, ordinary hospitals outside the secret realm would not be able to save you if our internal breathing was not strong enough. Upon hearing this, Mengde touched his neck. A small area was smooth and tender, and he could vaguely feel a slight difference from the surrounding flesh and blood. This wound, the Qingmu Pharmacopoeia, is a mental technique specially trained by Director Long of our Yucai School Hospital, which has a miraculous effect on treating blood and flesh deficiency. It's just that the wounds on your chest and buttocks are slightly larger, so you still need to rest for a day. Upon hearing Dr. Yang's explanation, Mengde finally understood. Thank you very much, Dr. Yang. Could you also thank Director Long on my behalf? Picking up a life, Mengde, who had already died once, cherished it even more. He sincerely thanked him. Dr. Yang listened to these words and felt quite satisfied. Looking directly at the young man, his eyes were bright and full of vitality, completely different from the other dozen or so students who had walked the life and death line for a while. Although he looks ordinary now, his character is excellent, and his future is promising. Well, rest well and try to feel the flow and characteristics of that breath in your body. The greenwood breath left by Director Long in your body can be combined with medication to have the maximum effect. While it is not fully consumed, experiencing it more will be beneficial for your future. Dr. Yang made a final note and hurriedly left with his people, leaving most doctors very busy. This is really another encounter between life and death. Mengde sighed and half lay in bed. With Dr. Yang's guidance, Mengde naturally wouldn't miss the opportunity. He closed his eyes and began to carefully capture the subtle and hidden internal breathing in his body. Warm and cool, feel it carefully, and there is still vitality in the weak. Wonderful, so wonderful. Mengde carefully realized that no matter how many times he was exposed to this magical power, he always felt excited from the bottom of his heart. Internal breathing is the premise of everything and the starting point of true qi. Having inner breath means having strength, the ladder to climb, and the path to move forward. In the face of this magical power, even though Mengde was equivalent to a second emperor, his heart couldn't help but surge. This is the innate desire of human life for power from ancient times to the present day. Here comes the chicken soup. Mengde fell silent for about half an hour before being awakened by a shout. A strong aroma of traditional Chinese medicine mixed with the flavor of chicken, like a drill bit, forcefully drilling into Mengde's brain. It was the nurse from before, holding a hot clay pot in her palm and placing it on the table next to Mengde's bed. Originally, Mengde had sunk into his body's senses and had never been hungry, but this fragrance came with a growl. The stomach that had not eaten for 3 days began to rebel. The nurse chuckled and said, "It's still hot. You haven't received any internal breathing protection yet. Don't worry, take your time and eat. I'll come back to tidy up in an hour." Okay. Mengde smiled and nodded, naturally not blushing due to the nurse's teasing. Judging from his actual age, he no longer cares about many things. Slowly getting up and moving to the window, pulling open the curtains, the sky was dim, without even a star, but below it were brightly lit with people coming and going. What a vibrant campus city. In the desolate and dangerous little secret realm, humans can create such magnificent buildings. End of this chapter. Chapter 5. Opportunities for Fate Exchange. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 5 Opportunities for Fate Exchange. In contrast, the twisted and withered tree in the city center, which is over 10 meters thick and hundreds of meters high, with dragon scale-like bark, appears quite insignificant under the fire of human civilization. Mengda was a bit curious. For miles around, he had been pushed clean by humans. Why did he only leave this withered tree in the middle? However, it was just curiosity, and he did not break the idea of asking the bottom out of the sand pot. Sometimes, being too curious is not a good thing, and when it's time to know, one will naturally know. If the outer courtyard surrounds Tsucheng, then the urban area of Yucai Academy within Xiaomi is the inner courtyard. Here is the true core of Yucai Middle School. TSK, a high school, has the ability to control a small secret realm, but what about a university? Mengda choked his tongue, his poor knowledge reserves could not support his imagination. Isn't it beautiful? This city. A clear and warm voice suddenly sounded in Mengda's ear. Mengda's body muscles tightened and then relaxed again. Being able to approach his existence silently is definitely a remarkable force that he cannot resist. And this is a human city in a small secret realm, where enemies cannot appear. Well, the light of civilization is a reflection of the collective dedication of all humanity's wisdom and strength, and naturally it is beautiful. He said, turning his head to look at the young man who suddenly appeared next to him. With a trendy hairstyle, but wearing a loose and antique robe, the body still stacks up in a temperature of nearly 30 degrees Celsius, with a slender and powerful figure that is one head higher than oneself. Sword eyebrows and starry eyes, with a handsome face and a fragrant body, the icy feeling made Mengda's mind more clear, and there was a soothing aura that made him feel at ease. What a beautiful man! By contrast, my body is truly ordinary and cannot be more ordinary, with a smooth-shaved flat head. Throw it into a pile of people, if you are not familiar with it, you may not be able to find it in the blink of an eye. The genes of ordinary farmers cannot be optimized by 1 or 2 generations. Especially, Mengda belongs to the eldest grandson. My grandfather's legitimate wife is an ordinary person, and my father doesn't have much talent for cultivation, so my wife is also an ordinary person, at most a middle-aged person. At the age of 10, my parents had another car accident and grew up with my rigid grandfather. Therefore, things like trends are always limited. Love cleanliness, pursue trends, there are no conditions at all. Are you? Li Yunxiao, I will become your martial arts teacher and part-time homeroom teacher for 55 of you in the future. His smile carried a hint of sadness, as it seemed that the remaining 55 people had formed a separate group, which made him feel a little distressed. Fortunately, it is precisely because of this that people in Weizu City attach more importance and resources are more concentrated. Hello teacher. Mengda greeted him honestly, but he thought to himself. This guy doesn't have a brother named Li Yunlong, does he? Li Yunxiao nodded slightly and said. Seeing your status, I feel relieved. Don't worry about not being able to pass the level later on, this storm has had a significant impact on the mayor. After the new principal arrived, the mayor personally talked to him and ordered that all 50.5 people must be allowed to ignite the internal flame, and rush to the blood exchange realm, to meet the standards of the college entrance examination when graduating from Form 6. The resources of the entire term will be given priority to you. After all, in the outside world, you are considered the mayor's visionary and deliberately concealed Tianjiao students. This Mengda is dumbfounded, can he still operate like this? Li Yunxiao smiled, revealing his fine and neat teeth, and Mengda suddenly felt a chill in his heart. He understood that Li Yunxiao had come specifically to remind every remaining student to have a clear understanding. Fortunately, in order to increase the number of students, the new principal also specially went to other regions to exchange some students. At that time, there will be a total of 3 classes, and you will be in one class with 60 people in each class. That means there will be 5 more people in your class. Don't worry, these 5 people are all true geniuses who ignited the fire on their own and there won't be any problems. They also understand your situation, speaking of which, Li Yunxiao's mood calmed down a bit. Although it is unknown how long it will take for the follow-up students to arrive, it is not true that 55 students will form a separate class. Otherwise, it would be a bit outrageous. Resource exchange. Mengda's mind came up with these 4 words. Students in Class 1 are destined to be trained with great emphasis. He understood clearly in his heart and said, "Don't worry, teacher. I know what to do. After all, this is an opportunity one bought with my life." Children only speak right and wrong, while adults only look at the pros and cons. In the future, it is estimated that this class will be one iron bucket. After all, interests are one. Whoever dares to leak secrets is against their own future. It seems that you are very smart. Smart people always live longer. Rest well, I'll leave. Firstly, Yun Xiao left this sentence with profound meaning and disappeared in the blink of an eye, like a phantom. If it weren't for the ticking of time, ordinary people would probably think it was an illusion. The bu chicken soup became warm, and Mengda chewed and swallowed it carefully. The bones were stewed until tender, and in one bite, Mengda, a strong person, chewed them all like a lollipop. After finishing his meal, Mengda practiced basic physical exercises for primary and secondary school students in the East Asian Federation. This is something that has been learned since elementary school, completely ingrained into the body's instincts. Children and adolescents have not yet fully developed their bodies, and their bodies are weak, so exercise is mainly focused on nurturing. As for Jingdong, it is also known as Forbidden Gong for students under the age of 16, who are in their 4th year of middle school. Without him, the body is too weak. Even a genius who can ignite an internal flame on their own will cause damage to their body. After all, there is no foundation. The internal spark ignited by squeezing the body is completely destroying the child's life. Premature aging, deficiency of qi and blood, physical deformities, and weak bones can all occur in this type of person. Mengda's grandfather naturally had some family background in his hands, but he also dared not teach Mengda, and was also in such a state of concern. For Mengda, basic physical education for primary and secondary school students in the East Asian Federation is currently the most suitable thing for him. I have been practicing for 10 years since kindergarten. Of course, this is a normal situation. Those families with a long history, as well as the military, have some unknown things that can break through common sense. Mengda is just an ordinary person, so naturally he can only advance through this promotion system, which is the fastest for ordinary people. He has no complaints. Ordinary people are fortunate enough to have such an upward path. He crossed over and was grateful that he could once again be in this prosperous era. However, after experiencing the accident 3 days ago, Mengda also resolved his doubts in his heart. No wonder this world, with such a large population, is still encouraging childbirth. I see, not only is true qi equivalent to energy, but it's also because it consumes too much. A small accident resulted in over 1,000 deaths. Even ordinary people who cannot cultivate true qi can vaguely perceive the waves and bloody storms behind this world. After completing a basic body surgery drill, Mengda's body overheated. This is not yet the limit of his body, but if there are injuries, he cannot be too reckless. The Qingmu pharmacopoeia is truly miraculous, and I feel that my wound is rapidly improving. Ointments, oral medications, and dietary supplements were quickly mobilized during this exercise, and the body was absorbing nutrients. This tingling sensation. Mengda opened his hospital uniform, and at the wound on his chest, new granulation tissue slowly wriggled at a speed almost visible to the naked eye. Why wait for tomorrow? By the time you go to bed in the middle of the night, it will be completely healed. Amazing, the medical technology in this world. End of this chapter. Chapter 6. Preparation. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 6. Preparation. Sure enough, the next day when Mengda woke up, the wound had completely healed. Under the dietary supplements and medication provided by the school hospital, there was not even any loss of qi and blood. Instead, due to the increased intake, the whole person appeared energetic and full of energy. In this way, Mengda was almost entirely confident that he could ignite the internal flame today. He is full of confidence. At 2 o'clock in the afternoon, Mengda took another nap and finally someone drove over to pick them up. The actual control of this small secret realm is in the hands of the new country, but as a discoverer, Yutsai Middle School also has the right to use and develop it. This conclusion was drawn by Mengda when he saw many soldiers in the school hospital. Although some people wear patient clothes, they have the same energetic and capable temperament as his eighth uncle. As for the school hospital, its scale is comparable to that of the central hospital in the outside world. But I'm not wrong. In this school city, it's just a school hospital, but it's a bit larger. The car is very large, much larger than the one in my impression, somewhat like a bus from a previous life. But this time, only 18 people were loaded, including the driver, and the carriage was very spacious. These students walked along the line of life and death, looking at each other with a hint of empathy, but they didn't speak much and didn't feel that way. But the driver is talkative, wanting to chat with Mengda and the others, but most of the time he talks to himself. Mengda also learned a lot of information from this population. This driver is a full-time school bus driver, and there is no problem loading a vehicle with 60 or 70 people. He was also a bit strange. The higher-ups gave him this task and asked him to come specifically to pick them up. In this regard, the 17 students in the car, even if they are young, have a clear mind and keep their mouths shut. What should be known will be known, and what should not be known should not be spoken of by these students. The driver said that he has obtained a professional driving license and can drive 3 types of energy vehicles: gasoline, electricity, and natural gas. It seems that he is at least a warrior with strong internal breathing and has stepped into the process of refining his body. There is no sun within the territory of Xiaomi, and many people suddenly realize that the sky is dim at this time, relying entirely on the power supply of the city. At first, Mengda thought he had come to a small world, but it didn't seem like he was there. There might not even be any stars in the sky. However, the absence of the sun does not affect the operation of this small town. Mengda speculates that even if this school city has been disconnected from the outside world for more than a decade, it should not be a problem and can engage in self-circulation. Some materials, such as vegetables and fruits, are likely cultivated using artificial light sources. The true qi of a warrior is completely a pollution-free, renewable and efficient energy source. Having true qi in one's body, even low-quality internal breathing is more convenient and efficient than ordinary electricity. To make a fire, learn about flame knives, fiery legs, and burning wood palms. When reaching the realm of true qi, there is a qualitative change, and even more so, true qi can be released, resulting in some subtle changes in its properties. A small ball of true qi can ignite flames out of thin air. Some products developed by research institutes can also receive internal breath, or true qi as energy. For example, the school bus that Mengda is sitting on is a hybrid electric vehicle with 3 energy sources: oil, electricity, and natural gas. Usually, the driver's internal breathing is used as the power source, and electricity and gasoline are only backup energy sources. According to the driver, many people have protested in recent years that oil-powered cars are prone to pollution. Therefore, the new country is preparing to issue a new law prohibiting urban gasoline-powered vehicles from traveling. The driver sighed a bit. In the future, gasoline-powered cars may become completely backup cars, and if you want to drive them, you can only go outside the city to have an addiction. The key is that this will affect the lives of some ordinary people. Sighing, this has nothing to do with school bus drivers. After all, he is a warrior and has obtained a professional driver's license, so he can drive any type of car. Half an hour later, the driver led them to their destination. Teacher Li Yunxiao, whom I met yesterday, has already been waiting with other students who have not been injured. Okay, everyone is here. Li Yunxiao clapped his hands and had a gentle smile. Next, whenever I pronounce a name, I come over to collect my own brand. The boys and girls here are precocious, quiet, and well-behaved. Shuodian. A young man approached and received a license plate. Chen Kazhan. A young girl approached and received the second license plate. Mengda felt a bit familiar, and then remembered that she was the first female student to enter the small secret realm. Lin Yun. Xiao Yang. Wang Chuanli. Mengda received the 50th license plate. After receiving the plate, Li Yunxiao led everyone into the building. Mengda just looked around and realized that this building should have 10 floors, covering an area of over 100 meters, with a large one hanging on the roof. This is the teaching building after our 4th year of high school. Some of you should have noticed that Building 1 is our 4th year's teaching area. Wait for 5, it will be replaced with Building 2. This is basically the same process as outside, and it's the same for you from Middle 1 to Middle 3. Li Yunxiao stands by the elevator. The school will only officially start tomorrow. Let's go to the 3rd basement level first. Don't worry, soon, after igniting the internal flame, you can collect your own books and daily necessities and move freely. There are 5 elevators on each side of the hall, and everyone can go up freely. Li Yunxiao happened to arrive at the elevator in Mengda. Teacher Li, I think this city is quite large. It seems that our school doesn't need so many places, right? Someone took the opportunity to ask a question. Do you think this little secret realm is unique to Yucai Middle School? Li Yunxiao asked back and answered himself. Of course not, we only occupy the central area, with military personnel on the periphery. The little secret realm is actually very dangerous. Without the protection of soldiers, we at Yucai Middle School cannot build a city here. This answer is indeed consistent with Mengda's speculation. Don't worry, you will be living here for nearly 3 years, and there are many opportunities to go out and explore. Even up to you, perhaps some people don't want to go out. Mengda's heart skipped a beat. It seems that these 3 years of life will be very exciting. The -3rd floor will arrive soon, with a few sparse personnel busy. There was no sense of oppression among the crowd, and the space here was very large, with soft light scattered everywhere. Xiao Li, here we are. An old man with gray hair shouted and came over with his hands. Everything is ready for you, sign it so that I can get busy with other things. Although the old man has white hair, his spirit is very good, and his eyes sparkle, making it difficult to look directly at him. The body is also tough, not tall, but thin, with every move and gesture, with a familiar swift and agile demeanor. It is estimated that he also comes from a military background. Undoubtedly, it is a new country, and its strength can be seen in every detail. Li Lao, thank you very much. You are busy. Li Yunxiao smiled, not only signing and fingerprint, but also confirming the basic appearance of the system on the electronic panel. The panel is scanned with light, which is likely to eliminate the possibility of someone changing their face and pretending. It seems that martial artists are also keeping up with the times and will not go against the times. After the handover, seeing off Mr. Li, his face became serious. Number 1, go up. He pointed to the altar-like raised platform in the field. Strange runes are depicted on the porcelain plate, and cables are orderly buried in grooves. End of this chapter. Chapter 7. Self-ignition of internal sparks. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 7. Self-ignition of internal sparks one by one, with Li Yunxiao personally guiding and helping, and many resources to assist. How could it fail? All achievements have been made. Finally arriving at Mengda, he took a deep breath and walked towards the altar. Stepping in, I immediately felt a static electricity passing through my body, and my loose martial arts uniform and hair were slightly raised. He even thought he had an illusion, as if the air in this place was fresher than outside the altar. No, it's not an illusion. What means is this. But now is not the time to deal with these things. He calmly focused and picked up 2 pills on the small table next to him, swallowing them into his stomach. A white jade-like nourishing pill and a crimson-red blood pill. These are not things that ordinary people can take, they are not only precious, but also literally cannot be taken by ordinary people. Try it and there is a chance of death. But now, they have distributed 55 pieces each to stimulate their chi, blood, and potential, igniting the internal breathing flame. It seems that with fewer people, the benefits are still significant. As long as you can be confident that you are the part with fewer people. Meng De began practicing basic physical techniques, repeating them over and over again. His chi and blood surged, and the effects of the 2 pills quickly came into play. His face was flushed with excitement, as if it was about to drip blood. The skin membrane of the body is shaken, and a small amount of sweat begins to flow through the pores. Li Yunxiao looked at Meng De with a calm expression, his thumb curled up and he aimed it at him. A faint halo appeared, ready to take action at any moment. On the 8th iteration, the loose martial arts uniform was lifted, as if a breath filled it. On the 9th attempt, Meng De felt exhausted, his body grew a small circle, his muscles swelled all over, and even a small amount of blood burst out of his pores. This is a great pressure on the capillaries. But in fact, it's not just about the surface, Meng De's body is also like this, it's just not as extreme as it appears on the surface. I can still hold on. Meng De's face turned red and almost black, but his expression was calm and indifferent. Very good, it seems that my talent is slightly beyond judgment. If there were better resources to assist before, I believe I could also stand with the group of Tianjiao who ignited their own internal flame. However, fortune and misfortune depend on each other. If I were really standing with them, I would have died 4 days ago. I also have to thank my predecessor for leaving me with a good foundation. I have to thank the grandfather of this body, who strictly regulated the actions of his predecessor the 10th time. We've reached the limit, it's now. Ka 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 bang rumble. A slight strange sound came from his body, and only Meng De could carefully capture and experience it. Perfect essence and sound of muscles and bones. The time has come. Get up. Meng De let out a soft chuckle and, under full control, his swollen body suddenly rebounded and retracted back to its normal state. The essence gathers under high pressure, and a wonderful breath is generated within the body, slowly spreading throughout the body. It's done. However, Meng De did not stop, fully focused on continuing the drill until the end of the last action. Li Yunxiao silently made a note in his heart. The 3rd one, I didn't expect there to be so many talented individuals among ordinary people. This world is changing more and more. Meng De, come down and switch to number 51 to continue. Previously, no one paid attention to this unknown figure who was on the edge of the crowd. But now, many people's eyes are changing. They could clearly see Li Yunxiao's small movements, and there were 2 previous beings who did not need Li Yunxiao's true chi to help, both of whom were like Meng De. Ignite the true chi spark on your own. This is 16 years old. It's not built up with age, but with this innate talent. The precious pill immediately appeared upon stimulation. That is to say, if such people were born into a family with more abundant resources, they would not be buried. However, some people, like Meng De, have their regrets and envy dissipated in their hearts. Born differently, there may not be a chance to stand here well. In the principal's office, the examiner with pale eyes stood beside the new principal, watching real-time monitoring coming from the computer. This new principal has a burly physique, which is typical of most martial artists. Only by practicing special techniques can he stand out from the crowd. He has a neatly trimmed beard on his face, sharp eyes, thick eyebrows, and a spirited big back. He is dressed in a neat suit with a big gold watch. Well, that's great. It seems that my investment hasn't been in vain. He touched his heavily bearded chin and nodded in satisfaction. Adding the 5 that were dug later, there are a total of 8 people. With these 8 people, as well as some who work hard, the passing rate of the college entrance examination in 3 years will definitely be worry-free. Hi, it has to be you. If it's someone else, I'll be dragged down by this mess. The examiner's flattery forced out a big smile. Don't flatter me, as you have been demoted this time, I can only do my best to give you a chance. The new principal waved his hand and ordered. Once they're done, send a separate batch of supplies to those 3 little ones. Don't worry, I will never make any mistakes in my work. After everyone ignites the internal breathing flame and truly enters the realm of nourishing qi, the red runes on the altar will completely disappear. Mengde deliberately stepped forward and tried, but even the unique and fresh breath that distinguished him from the outside of the altar disappeared. There is also a feeling of static electricity flowing throughout the body, which is no longer present. Runes are drawn using a mixture of exotic beasts and demon blood. This point already has a stronger spiritual energy, and the rune array enhances its gathering ability, which will also stimulate the power of this blood to join. Just now, as an ordinary person, you were able to vaguely sense the freshness of this spiritual energy, which is the reason for the rune formation. As for the calm stance, it relies on electricity to drive the operation. Once you all ignite successfully, the person in charge will shut it down. In the future, if you want to enter this specialized training room, you will have to exchange your achievements for it. Seeing Mengde's doubts, Li Yunxiao patiently and carefully explained them, and they will also be exposed to and learn from them in the future. Demons. Spiritual energy. Position. Merit. Mengde nodded, indicating understanding. It seemed that he had heard a lot of amazing knowledge. There are too many private goods. Li Yunxiao led the team to take another action, taking everyone to the material warehouse to collect a collection of books and daily necessities. Becoming a martial arts student not only means paying for things themselves, but also benefits from government subsidies. At the very least, in this small secret territory, ordinary daily necessities do not need to be spent. However, in terms of food, drink, and enjoyment, there are also spiritual needs that need to be achieved by oneself. Either there is a home remittance when the school opens every semester, or we have to do some work. As for the needs for cultivation, you can't buy them with less money. There are even more good things that may need to be added to the merit mentioned by Li Yunxiao. Anyway, Mengde doesn't believe that just spending money can buy it. It's okay for the outside world to spend a lot of money, but inside Xiaomi, there are a group of poor students. Even if there is family investment, they cannot make such a big effort. Chinese, mathematics, physics, biology, chemistry, geography, history, medicine, martial arts, ideological and moral character. 10 main courses. Mengde flipped through the textbooks in his hand and felt a slight headache. It seems that even if you are reincarnated once, you still cannot escape the nightmare of learning. To become a martial arts student, it's not just about practicing martial arts. Since we want to enjoy a high position, we naturally need to make corresponding efforts. You not only need to be stronger than humanities students, but also need to become more knowledgeable than humanities students. What is heritage? Not only physically, but also intellectually and mentally. Can the upper echelons of a country be achieved if they are just reckless individuals? Can we govern the country? End of this chapter. Chapter 8. Learning, everyone must learn. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 8. Learning, everyone must learn. Similarly, if there is no power, only knowledge, can this be achieved? Can you protect your own safety and not easily die? Even with many bodyguards, can you ensure that you don't get sick and always have excellent energy to handle official duties? So with the emergence of schools, a warrior who wants to become a good person must possess both civil and military skills. At a young age, if a warrior does not learn knowledge well, do they know the structure of the human body, the meridians, and the key points? How to save people when saving them? How to kill when killing? As a warrior, I don't know what the human body is made up of, and I don't understand the functions of the 5 organs and 6 viscera. How can I practice? I'm afraid that once I reach the perfect state of nourishing qi, I won't even be able to step into the first step of the 4 major steps of body cultivation. Medicine and martial arts are not separated, and medicine and pharmacy are not studied. A new set of martial arts techniques developed by the Research Institute involves mechanics and requires a foundation in both physics and biology. What will you do? Learn or not? A new set of Jingong has been developed, which involves mystical thinking and professional terminology. It requires a foundation in Chinese language, philosophy, and history. What should you do? Learn or not? Accidentally stepping into dangerous territory to obtain resources and not studying geography. For self-protection, to avoid accidentally drinking poison, to deal with powerful enemies, if you want to configure certain things, do you not learn chemistry? Learn, everyone has to learn. I have to work hard to study and become both civil and military. And not so, how can we outdo others? Li Yunxiao finally escorted everyone to the dormitory building, which was very close to the teaching building, with 1 building on each side, male on the left and female on the right. To avoid being bullied by higher grades on lower grades, the areas of middle 4, middle 5, middle 6 and other ages are not in the same place and are quite far apart. And the dormitory building is quite large. After all, the 2 buildings combined could have accommodated more than 1,000 people. Now there are only 50.5 left, and as the wind blows, I inexplicably feel lonely and quiet. Especially in the small secret area, there is no sun and it is dim all day long, relying only on street lights and the light from other parts of the city. That feels like those who are timid have already developed goosebumps. Alright, just now you entered your personal information in the material warehouse, and the school has also delegated permissions to you. Go and freely select rooms. After selecting, just upload and confirm on your phone. Don't worry about choosing the wrong one, you can change it freely in the future. Li Yunxiao clapped his hands and smiled, saying. The dormitory was originally for 3 people, but considering the current situation, it's not a problem for each of you to have 1 room. Go up on your own. I'm leaving. After Li Yunxiao finished speaking, his figure dissipated like a phantom, adding a touch of strangeness out of thin air. The men and women were separated, and out of the 55 people, there were only 19 young girls, leaving 30.6 young men. This does not mean that there are more men than women, the actual situation is exactly the opposite. Due to occasional minor frictions between countries and the dangers in the wild, men tend to die more often. In terms of martial arts practice, males have innate advantages, so it is normal for them to have more than females. Wang Chuanli leaned over and touched Mengde with his arm. Ah, Mengde, should we share a room? Mengde's eyes immediately changed and he quickly distanced himself from him. Don't misunderstand, we both ignited our own internal flame and didn't ask for Teacher Li's help. I'm thinking we can share a room and have better communication and learning in the future, Wang Chuanli quickly explained. Let's find another one who looks good, 3 people to live with and take care of each other. I believe you have some understanding of the situation. Practicing in a small secret realm is not as safe. Upon hearing Wang Chuanli's words, other teenagers also changed their minds. Living alone may be free, but compared to progress in cultivation, it is obviously not as important. Even if there are only 55 people left and resources are sufficient, as the cards being pushed out, they are naturally under pressure to show off their arrogance. If it's not more curly, it may fall behind. Practice starts from the details, step by step, no one dares to fall behind. Slow down a bit, and you won't be able to catch up with the footsteps of the outstanding anymore. Mengde was lost in thought, but ultimately nodded and reached out his hand. Not bad, I like to be with smart people, let's progress together in the future. Wang Chuanli smiled and reached out to shake hands with Mengde. If Mengde had golden fingers, he certainly wouldn't want to be under the same roof with others. Unfortunately, despite his hard work, he is still an ordinary person. At most, it's just having a good body and not becoming the protagonist of fate like the novels I've read in my past life, with a cheating act against fate. His only advantage is his decades of experience and knowledge from another world. And the knowledge of this other world is actually of little use in this world. The technology in this life is not inferior to that in the previous life, and even better due to the existence of true chi. As for going into the entertainment industry, or write a novel about 30 years of Hedong and 30 years of Heshi. Don't laugh anymore. Is there a sunny road that doesn't lead and tends to lead towards a small path? Mengda's brain is not a problem. The decades of life experience were not of much use either. Just because you have been reborn through time doesn't mean you have become excellent. Ordinary people are still ordinary people, but their mentality is slightly better. Without seeing Wang Chuanli, he is even stronger in terms of interpersonal skills than Mengda. At least this young man knows how to form a gang to prepare for the future. If it weren't for igniting the internal flame on his own, Mengda might not have been favored by Wang Chuanli. Not afraid of being used by others, but afraid of having no value for use, Mengda now admires Wang Chuanli somewhat. Let's go up and pick the dormitory. Two people stand side by side, casually using their phones to brush open some of the mundane world. However, the layout was identical, and there was nothing to choose. They had to start with the room number. Finally, it was finalized and we chose 404. Wang Chuanli doesn't care about these things, mainly because Mengda prefers this number. Put away your things, and a few young Y boys are all looking towards the girls' dormitory. There's no need to worry about peeping. Yutsai High School has a strong financial foundation and is also a martial arts student, with skewed resources. Therefore, glass windows are all specially made, and the inside cannot be seen from the outside, but the outside can be seen from the inside. More importantly, the dormitories are all 3 bedrooms, 1 living room, 1 kitchen, and 1 bathroom. Behind the windows, there is a foyer where miscellaneous items and shoes are placed, and there is also a wall separating them from the bedroom. I don't know what the situation is with these girls now. Here, the female student who ignited the internal breathing flame on her own is a young girl named Zhou Jing. As the name suggests, one's writing is quiet. The name is ordinary, the appearance is average, but the talent is not ordinary. At this point, other girls are vying for her to join their own small group. Okay, didn't you see her blushing? Don't be too hasty, there will be choices when the time comes. Is forcing others now to offend others who have not been chosen? Qin Kejian stood up and helped Zhou Jing out. Girls are not unreasonable, they are not overly pressing. Qin Kejian randomly selected a room and moved in. She has no expectations for not igniting the internal flame on her own, and naturally will not be disappointed. Her family is quite large and she already knows her qualifications. Even under such good conditions, it is impossible to ignite on its own. How could 2 pills solve the problem? It's better to walk step by step to ignite the fire with the help of family members. Experiencing the limits of mortals through multiple experiences is not a bad thing. End of this chapter. Chapter 9. The Privileges of Genius. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 9. The Privileges of Genius. Not long after resting, Mengda was about to go to the restaurant for dinner when he received a message on his phone in his pocket. The phones sent to students by Yutsai Middle School are not external phones, their functions are very simple, and the systems are specially developed by New China. There is nothing about entertainment, placed outside, and not connected to the outside world's internet. It can only be within the territory of Xiaomi. No, it can only be used in this school city. If you leave this campus city and want to communicate and exchange information, you need a military-grade communicator. Civil grade, it is difficult to communicate within the territory of Xiaomi. When I clicked on my phone, it turned out to be a notice from the school. Wang Chuanli, Mengda, and Zhou Jingsan's character library collection. Did you also receive it? He immediately understood the meaning behind it, looked at Wang Chuanli, and could faintly hear the vibration of the other person's phone. Wang Chuanli nodded and said. Well, let's go to the material warehouse again. In front of the material warehouse, a man with pale blue eyes and a tiger back and a bare waist stood tall, silent like an iron tower. He furrowed his brows, seeming to be thinking about something. Mengde and his companions arrived here, looked around, and it seemed like they were waiting for someone. So he walked over and, due to his power, dared not speak or ask too much. After all, they have seen this person in an underground cave. Strong combat power, fighting alone against the three major true Qi realm masters. Still alive now, it can be said to be the height of high school, top to top. It is estimated that with just one finger, Mengde and the others could be stabbed to death. Soon, Zhou Jing also arrived. This person speaks. My name is Ho Yi. I was supposed to be your teaching director, but you also know what happened and now I have been demoted. Ho Yi scanned the three people and saw them silent. He continued to speak. Although resources will be concentrated to supply your class, as geniuses who can ignite internal combustion on their own, there will always be some privileges. Principal Quan asked me to pick something for you. Remember, this is a private sponsorship from Principal Quan. He added a slight emphasis on the word private. Thank you very much for the sponsorship from Principal Quan, and also for Director Ho's guidance. Students must keep it in mind and also wish Director Ho the restoration of his original position in advance. Mengde arched his hand, with a slightly deliberate smile of flattery. This way of dealing with people is still a reminder he received from Wang Chuanli. The other two also reacted and quickly answered. Thank you to all the principals, and also to Director Ho. Students will always remember. Ho Yi nodded in satisfaction. Mengde's flattery really tickled the itch, and Mengde didn't guess wrong. Although Ho Yi's position was demoted from above, he fought bravely against three powerful true Qi realm warriors and suffered heavy damage. It is impossible for him to be demoted for too long. It's just normal for some people to die in this world, otherwise why encourage childbirth? When the wind blows, Ho Yi can make any small contribution to ensure that the official resumes his original position. At the material warehouse window, Ho Yi arranged a mobile phone. I have verified my identity and Principal Quan has already sent a notice to the material warehouse. At this moment, Li Lao, whom Mengde had met, was also present. He walked over and smiled, saying, Ho Yi, did you get beaten again? Ho Yi's face turned red with swelling, and the veins on his forehead bloomed, roaring angrily. Am I being beaten? Have you not seen me fighting alone against three powerful true Qi realm masters? Which injury did I get? It's not for the school, it's for the future of the students. Is this being beaten? Can fighting be called being beaten? The staff in the material warehouse couldn't help but laugh and didn't argue with Ho Yi. Ho Yi's mouth burst out with some pleasant words, saying, a gentleman who is weak should dare to wield his sword. What is the saying, the brave win when meeting on a narrow path, until he said, when I return to my original position, I will take all of you one by one. The laughter in the material warehouse was as low as possible, filled with joyful air. Mengde and his companions had a calm expression. When they first arrived at the secret realm, they were cautious and dared not offend anyone. The people in the material warehouse can laugh. Can these little students laugh? However, from the conversations of these people, Mengde can draw some useful information. Ho Yi's personality is probably not difficult to get along with, and he will have to flatter him well in the future. Not long after, the things were delivered, and the three packaged resources arrived in their respective hands. Mengde and the others have no idea what's inside now. As they walked outside carrying their belongings, Ho Yi asked. Mengde and Wang Chuanli, I see that you have chosen the same room. Are you planning to live together? Yes, Director Ho, what's the problem? Wang Chuanli has some doubts. Well, it's okay to live together in the early stages, but you can all be considered geniuses. It's best to live alone as much as possible. Beasts always walk alone, while cattle and sheep flock together. A 4-person room is reserved for ordinary students, and in the past, only geniuses like you were qualified to occupy a room alone. Li Yunxiao didn't explain it specifically to you because your situation is special. After all, in the end, everyone will have their own little secrets and resources to store. Remember, you are different from ordinary students. Moreover, the country encourages childbirth, and after the 4th year of middle school, schools do not prohibit or encourage love. I really caught my eye and can move out. Outside the teaching area, there are separate rooms for rent, but they are not as free as the dormitory area. Upon hearing Ho Yi's lengthy persuasion, Meng De frowned. Do martial arts students still have the energy to date? How can they start dating at this age? Isn't a person's golden uptrend all ruined? Wang Chuanli and Zhou Jing also thought of the heavy workload and the need to work hard for the subsequent cultivation resources, which made them shudder. This is also something that ordinary martial arts students need to consider, and it is generally unrelated to the 3 of you. After all, as I just said, the school does not prohibit or encourage this matter. If it weren't for your special identity, I wouldn't have bothered to say these things to you. Ho Yi paused for a moment and then said something meaningful. However, martial artists have much more vigorous qi and blood than ordinary people. Who knows what will happen under impulse? All we can do is try to standardize students' behavior and guide their thinking. The 3 of them fell silent, feeling that Ho Yi's words were quite reasonable. Can they manage themselves and others? Approaching, Ho Yi reminded again. The 5 people who joined your class afterwards were geniuses recruited by the entire principal from other places, just like you, who successfully ignited the fire on their own. Don't underestimate others. Remember why you met the same conditions. After Ho Yi left, Meng De took out his phone. Come on, add each other as friends. The 3 of us have gone through life and death together. If there are any difficulties in the future, please take care of each other, okay? Zhou Jingwen was quiet, with a weak expression on his face, indicating that he had no independent opinions. Meng De directly clicked on the add friend function on her phone and handed it to her, but she felt embarrassed to refuse. The 3 of them made friends with each other, and Meng De said. Put away your things first, and then we'll go to the restaurant together for a meal. It's my treat. Boss, be bold. Wang Chuanli shamelessly gave a thumbs up. Meng De smiled silently. He still had the money for a meal. End of this chapter. Chapter 10. Novice Gift Pack. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 10 Novice Gift Pack. The 3 of them had a meal and got to know each other better, which inadvertently brought their relationship closer. Zhou Jing's family is an ordinary salaried worker, and her parents have worked hard to raise 3 children. She is the second, along with an older sister and younger brother. Wang Chuanli is slightly stronger than the Meng De family, but he cannot be considered a big family. It can only be said that he is quite intelligent and likes his family, which is why he received help from his elders to reach this step. When the group dispersed and returned to the dormitory, Meng De and Wang Chuanli opened the beginner gift package from all the principals. A large box of dietary supplements with a comfortable light and fragrant medicinal taste. A large bottle of black flower cream, applied externally, can improve cultivation efficiency. A small bottle of Yushue pill is used to treat external injuries, but it cannot handle the work of breaking hands and feet. A small bottle of Gu Yuan Dan is not only effective in treating internal injuries, but also has a secondary therapeutic effect. It is mainly used to stabilize the injury and provide more time for the body to wait for medical staff. Of course, if willing to waste, it can even be used to accelerate cultivation. A large bottle of nourishing qi pill and a large bottle of red blood pill, needless to say, are used to accelerate cultivation and have been consumed during ignition. Similarly, as long as you are willing to waste, it can also be used to increase the success rate of ignition. Meng De poured it out and carefully counted it. The small bottle for healing had 10, and the large bottle for assisting cultivation had 30, all the size of glass balls. Just enough for 3 months. The Yangqi pill and the red blood pill can meet the daily cultivation needs, but to avoid problems, it is often necessary to take the second pill every 3 days. The 2 pills that were ignited before were wasted most of their medicinal power. As for these healing drugs in small bottles, they are difficult to handle. Mengde and his team are still students and basically don't need to use them yet. But upon careful consideration, Mengde realized that it was none other than okay, keep it for now. And this large box of dietary supplements takes up 4/5 of the space in the resource package, and its true value far exceeds that of pills. The dietary supplement package has been prepared in large quantities, and each portion is packaged in a small bag. From a single perspective, it may not be as good as a pill, but when the amount is presented here, the natural value exceeds that of a pill. The main problem now is how to cook it, how to make it delicious, and maximize the retention of medicinal properties and nutrients. Mengde doesn't know how to cook, he can only say that he can barely eat. If it weren't for having a wife in my past life, my old age would be unknown. This dietary supplement package is not as simple as filling your stomach. If you want to fill your stomach, feel free to eat the free meals in the restaurant. But this dietary supplement package is different. It's a good thing that can accelerate cultivation, and it's not as contraindicated as pills. Eating it suddenly, there's no problem at all, as long as you can digest it. It seems that finding a roommate who is skilled in cooking and has knowledge in nutrition is urgent. Otherwise, I would have to squeeze out time to learn on my own. Sure enough, both the team and the individual have their own strengths and weaknesses. It's just a world of high martial arts, where the advantages of personal strength are infinitely magnified. Mengde and Wang Chuanli did not live separately immediately due to Hou Yi's words, and they still felt that they would take a look in a while. Human nature is indeed untested, but there is still the most basic trust between people. Not suffering from scarcity but suffering from inequality, having both people in the resource package, the test is too small. Danyao is also stored in an electronic lock box on the walls of the dormitory, which is locked after taking 1 pill every 3 days. There's really a problem. Even if there's another person behind the dormitory, it's not easy to find a thief. Mengde, who has struggled twice on the line of life and death, is not a vegetarian. After counting, Mengde immediately took a shower, dipped his finger in black flour ointment, and then traced it from the center of his chest to a little below his navel, then evenly spread it. The hot and refreshing sensation instantly hit my heart. Mengde began practicing basic physical skills in the open hall to strengthen his inner breath. He has successfully ignited the fire and entered the state of nourishing qi. The next steps are very simple. Nourish qi with the body, nourish the body with qi, and form a virtuous cycle. Once the qi is fully nourished and there is no way to enter, one can advance to the next level. Before entering the state of nourishing qi, Mengde could only barely practice his basic physical skills 9 times, and only after taking medication did he practice his 10th time under stimulation. Normally, he wouldn't dare to do that. Forceful practice will only damage the body and cause it to collapse. And now, as soon as he entered the state of nourishing qi, Mengde could clearly feel that the pressure on his body had decreased significantly during the faint flow of internal breath. Having internal breathing and not having internal breathing is a qualitative change. The usual limit, but now I still feel like there is room for improvement. Internal breathing seems to be massaging the body, unblocking qi and blood, entering every organ of the body, helping to optimize and adjust the entire system. The practice of basic physical techniques has also driven the cultivation of essence and internal breath. Every movement not only exercises the body, but also hammers the internal breathing. The two are achieving each other. The 10th time, the 11th time, the 12th time. Until then, Mengde's whole body turned red, sweating profusely, and the fine toxins and impurities in his body were excreted with sweat. Of course, this is not about easy muscle cutting and marrow cutting, it's just normal metabolism. Even ordinary people may experience this situation after exercising every day. Life lies in motion, and this statement is highly reasonable. To live long, one must exercise and sweat. 13th time. Mengda's body swelled and his eyes were bright. Halfway through the drill, Mengda paused, his movement stopped, and his body and skin slowly returned to normal. Unfortunately, I still can't digest the remaining medicinal power. These pills are just like this, their medicinal power is rapid, and all the nutrients wish they could be released in a day. Good things are good things, but they should not be something we can have at this level. However, this black flower ointment is really good. Its external application can even stimulate my internal breathing to accelerate its movement. Not only that, this refreshing feeling is long-lasting and can help my body reduce blood pressure, just like the CPU is coated with cooling silicone grease. It seems that advanced basic body techniques are needed. Tomorrow I will have a martial arts class, and I believe I will gain something. Basic physical education for primary and secondary school students is not very useful to me anymore, and my efficiency is too low at the age of 16. His roots and bones are basically fixed, and there will be changes in the future, but it will not hinder his martial arts cultivation anymore. That is to say, during the small stages of Form 4 to Form 6, students will learn the second-level basic physical skills of middle school. The East Asian Federation places great emphasis on the growth of young people, and even during the 3-year transitional period, they have jointly developed a specialized secondary school basic physical education. Compared to basic physical exercises for primary and secondary school students, it is more effective and does not cause much pressure on the body, making it suitable for this age group. When I wait for college, my body will still grow, but it will not affect my martial arts cultivation at all. At that time, it could be said that it was a golden growth period for an ordinary person's body. Even if one can practice at full speed, they can also reap the benefits of physical growth. And now these 3 years can only be considered as a period of silver growth. The brain and body are the opposite. Now, 3 years is the golden growth period, with abnormal brain cell activity and a significant increase in memory and understanding. After college, it has become a silver growth period, mainly to increase logical ability. However, for martial arts students, it will not affect their brains after college. Because of cultivation, it will greatly prolong the peak state of martial arts students. After Mengda glanced at the time, he realized that he had been immersed in cultivation for over an hour. On the other side of the living room, Wang Chuanli, influenced by Mengda, is also practicing and has not yet finished. Taking a shower again, Mengda saw that it was still early. He flipped through his textbook and started reading it in his leisure time. End of this chapter.